Hello, hello, my friends in Sasquatch Land. Hello, 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 my friends in Sasquatch Land, and welcome to another Tuesday night at Discover Sasquatch Studios. And do we have a show for you all tonight? I received a request from our guest tonight, DeeDee Harrison, about it almost a year ago. We've been sitting on this footage, and she asked me to stabilize it. And as soon as I seen it, I asked her if it was okay to, show it to MK, and MK got a hold of it, and we've been looking at it, and we got a chance to work on it. And to me, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I believe that she caught a Sasquatch. You'll have to be the judge for yourself. Again, this isn't the drop. I don't know how to describe it. It's not the end all footage, but it's anybody that does this out in the field would be more than happy to get something like this. Some people never even get to capture this in 50, 60 years worth of out there in the field filming. And DeeDee actually captured it. So we're really excited. We've been sitting on it, like I said, for almost a year. It'll be a month. Another month, it'll be a year we've been sitting on this. And we look forward to showing it to you. So MK agreed to be our co-host tonight, and I'm excited to have him also. So I'd like to say everybody. And then at the end of the show tonight, I have a special announcement to make about the future of Discover Sasquatch. So stick around for that. I'm very excited for that also. So big things are happening here, and I can't wait to share this all with you guys. Hello, Blue-Eyed Northern. How are you tonight? Miss Francesca E. is in the house with us. BF Bud has all blessed us with himself. Mr. Steve Wolf is with us. The Squatch Father, the one and only Squatch Father, Al Santoriga, is with us. So glad to see everybody piling in tonight. This is going to be a really good show. This is DeeDee's first appearance, I guess, on a live broadcast. And so she's very excited to be here also, and we're excited to have her here. So hello, Digger Dog is in the house. So people are starting to pour in. So let's get this show on the road, and don't forget to wait for the end of the show. And I got another special announcement to make. So without further ado, let's bring out our guest co-host. Hold on one second here. Mr. M.K.Davis. Sorry about that, guys. Hello, my friend. How are you tonight?
Well, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for spending some time with us here on another Tuesday night. You're becoming like a permanent fixture in Discover Sasquatch realm here. You're here an awful lot, and we're happy to have you here every time.
I like to hang around places where truth and discovery are going on.
All right. And I appreciate you being here. And so, what do you think about this footage? What do you think about what you got the chance to see before we bring DeeDee out?
Well, you know what? It's like you said, it's probably not drop the mic. It's not going to put Sasquatch in the books, but to get footage at all, especially when you're new at it, is a really outstanding thing, you know. So we're going to go over it and say what we think about what we're seeing, and of course we'll discuss some other things about where she was at, the places, and where the Sasquatch might be now.
Right.
So all of that it needs discussing.
Yeah, we always learn something new. Like you were telling me what the name of the tribe was, the Kawanana. How do you pronounce it?
Karankawa.
Karankawa. Yeah. No.
Now, some people I've heard it also called Karankawa. I'm not sure which one is correct, but Karankawa is what I've heard the most of. A really primitive group of people that were 7 foot. Many of them were 7 feet tall and over, and they greased themselves down with alligator tail grease, and they kept insects and bugs from biting them. Also kept people away. The social life was probably not too good. But anyway, they were cannibalistic, and they were different, and they really gave the Spanish a lot of grief. And then all of a sudden, they just disappeared, and no one knows where they went. They weren't exterminated, but just one day they were just not there anymore. So who knows where they went?
Yeah, very strange. Did the mothership come and grab them?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I know. But they're from the state of Texas, right? They were from around that area, correct?
Right, the Gulf Coast there around Texas and part of Louisiana.
Right. And I think DeeDee's right around that area. So without further ado, let's bring Miss DeeDee Harrison out and give her a great big Discover Sasquatch welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss DeeDee Harrison. Hello, my friend DeeDee. How are you?
I'm fine. How are y'all?
I'm doing well. Did you ever think we would make it to this point tonight? We're finally here after a year's time. We're finally here to talk about the clip.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I've been over it and over it all this time, just going over it in my mind and looking at clips back and forth and I'm glad that you guys got involved, because I could have never done it. Could have never put it together. So I thank y'all for that.
All right. Well, I give you a big kudos for filming what you did, because most people wouldn't have stood there and filmed what you filmed. I mean, you were obviously a little shaken up, and you had the dogs were there, and you can tell the whole story, but I give you kudos for hanging in there and getting what you got, because a lot of people I don't think would have hung in there if this in case was a true Sasquatch. What you were seeing and what you were filming, you believe to be a Sasquatch, right?
I did. At first, I didn't know what it was, but then the longer I watched it, it was just doing different things that I couldn't really tell. And I kept filming it, and then I kept going through my mind, like, if this is a Sasquatch, there could be another one. And that's when I started zooming the camera around, and then I got kind of nervous and started shaking a little bit. So the stabilizer that MK put on it helps it a whole lot. But yeah, I filmed it for like 8 minutes, almost 8 minutes, about 7 time I got the camera working right. But yeah.
Yeah, I think most people would have been in the same boots, trying to focus and think about what's around them, what's in back of them, what's to the side of them.
Right.
So before we get any further into the clip and all that, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and how you got into the Bigfoot scene?
Okay. Well, I think most of the story I'm going to tell you now, some of you may have heard it on a Dixie Cryptid. Cam Buckner's I wrote a story to him about why I got into Bigfoot, and it was before I filmed this, and he put it out about 6 months ago on the title was Bigfoot Scared My Grandpa to Death. But I was on the second video, or the second story on that video. So I'll just kind of make it shorter than what he did. But I grew up in East Texas on a cattle ranch. I used to rodeo a lot and was rodeoing professionally for many years. My family had hunting ranches, and we would go up in the Texas Hill Country and hunt and hike, and we were outdoor people, my whole family, and we fished. We was always in the woods on weekends or our holidays. That's where we spent our Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I also loved to rock hunt, and there was a lot of crystals on one of our ranches that I used to collect. So I got into collecting rocks and different fossils and things. So from there, anyway, I also am a teacher. I've been teaching music for the last 26 years. So I'm kind of hoarse tonight. I can't hardly talk. I was telling them I've been talking all day, but I've been teaching music, so it gave me an opportunity to be able to travel around to different places and teach. And a few years ago, I went to Comfort, Texas, near in the Hill Country, and was teaching. And I had the opportunity to stay on this ranch that was about 26 acres, and in a cabin, and it was up in the hills. And I had all kinds of wildlife there. There were axis deer and buck, all kinds of deer that would come up, and I would feed them. And I spent a lot of my paycheck on feeding the deer, but also had foxes on the place that would come up and eat scraps and stuff. And I had a couple of old donkeys that were on the place that were wild, so they hung out. And I even saw a bobcat about 50 yards from the cabin one time. But I lived there for 3 years, and in the last year that I was there, I began to hear things hit the side of the cabin at night, and I brushed it off, thinking maybe it was the donkeys hitting the cabin or rubbing against the cabin or something. And Bigfoot was never on my mind. But anyway, one night, something hit the cabin so hard that it rattled the pictures on the wall. And I have two dogs. At that time, I had a pit bull and a Australian Shepherd, and both the dogs jumped up. I jumped up, and I went to the door, and I turned on the light and looked out, and I'm thinking somebody's messing with me, or somebody's up here, on the property. And so I get my gun and I sit down in front of the door, and I'm holding the pistol toward the door, just waiting for somebody to come in. But nothing ever happened. The dogs kind of settled down. I settled down, and I went out and bought a camera, a game camera, and put it up on that wall. And I didn't get any hits after that on that wall. But pretty soon after that, I never got anything on the game camera, but pretty soon after that, I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico. The property I was on was getting sold because the owner died. And so I had to move, and I got a job in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was like off to a new adventure. So me and my dogs at that time, we would spend all our time up in the mountains, especially in the Sandia Mountains. And we would go every weekend and every holiday to different places and camp. And I would just be hiking all the time, rock hunting. I did some gold panning. Never did get a lot of gold, but anyway, one day I happened to be there during the pandemic, so it was really bad because we kind of confined inside. It was real cold and snowy, and I got stir crazy at spring break, and decided to go up to this far place up in the hills, up in the mountain, to see if I could scout out a place to pan for this gold. And it was on Willow Creek. You know, it was kind of ironic. It's not the famous Willow Creek, but I went out that day and got there. When I finally got there, my dogs jumped out of the truck and they were running around, and I saw these footprints that were in the snow, and they were kind of glazed over by some ice, and they were huge. And so I started following these footprints, and I followed them all the way to the end of the river, and I just couldn't believe how many steps it took me to take before I got to the next step. So when I got through, I went back to the truck and put the dogs in the truck, and I got my camera and I got a tape measure out of my tackle box and went out there and I measured the steps or the footprints, and they were 16 inches long and they were about 4.5 inches wide. The stride between the steps were, I remember, 4.5 feet between each stride. And I started thinking, wow, this could be a Bigfoot, you know, because that was kind of like known for Bigfoot country out there, but it wasn't something on my radar. And I was more worried about bear and cougars and stuff like that when I was out hiking and doing those kind of things. But it was a real remote place. I was the only one around. And so then I got spooked and started looking around to whatever made those prints. I didn't know what was out there, you know, and I got a feeling like something was watching me. And so I left. Instead of videoing the prints, I took some snapshots, which now I regretted because I found out later I should have videoed it. When I came back, I started researching, trying to find out about Sasquatch in the area, and started typing in Google and all that. And then I began to find these shows. I think the first one I came across was Carrie's channel, Bigfoot Odyssey. I was watching him and I heard his story and I was like, wow, you know, I've been out in the wilderness and hunting all my life and all this, never thought there was a Bigfoot, you know. I grew up in the East Texas where they're all over, you know. So after that, I started finding other channels like Sasquatch Chronicles. And on that channel, on Sasquatch Chronicles, I heard a story about Bigfoot in the area where I lived in Comfort. It was only 4 miles from my house. And it was a show about a Bigfoot being found there. And this guy was tracking this Bigfoot. And it was the same year that I had the house slapped in Comfort. So it's starting to all come together. That may be on what had slapped my house. I couldn't say for sure, but you know, it was obvious something that I found out they do. And so it began my research and trying to figure out what it is. And it's not really research. I'm not a researcher. I'm a searcher. I'm trying to find out answers to what was going on and what I saw, because I know those tracks was not made by man, you know. And so I took the pictures and I actually sent them to Cliff Brackman. I can't say his name, Berkman, of Finding Bigfoot. And I sent them to Dr. Meldrum. And both of them were kind enough to write me back. And they said they really couldn't tell because I should have took video instead of snapshots of the pictures, because they couldn't tell it was consecutive, and they couldn't have, it was inconclusive, they said, but I know what it was. I know what I saw. And so from there, I just been watching shows and trying to find out more about it. And I got into, I found a Sawdust Beast and began to find out more, as much as I could about this, and pretty much led me to you, and eventually. But from doing all that, I'm just trying to find out answers. That's why I was doing this. So it led me to about a year ago. So it's been 4 years now that I've been into it. But a year ago, it was like Black Friday sale. And I was flipping through Amazon or something, looking at the Black Friday sale, and I came across a night vision camera. I said, I've always wanted that. Maybe I could get some pictures of some birds or something out here, because I live on the coast, and I live closer to Corpus Christi instead of Galveston, but I live on the other end. But I'm not far from the bay, so I can. There's a wildlife refuge out here, and I can go and film birds, or I can take pictures and go through this big area. It's only like a couple of miles from my house, so I thought I would buy this camera and maybe I could take some pictures at night. So, and maybe if I go camping, maybe I could scan around and see if there's any squatches or Bigfoot, you know. And I wasn't really thinking I was going to find anything right around here. So that's kind of what started me. And I guess I don't know if I should keep going, but I bought the camera. I went out one time and I couldn't get it to work right. And the second time I used it is when I videoed this. So, yeah, I went out, and that's probably why MK saw a lot of it at the beginning. I was just clicking the camera, trying to get it adjusted and getting used to it. But this was from the second time I used it.
Well, it sounds to me like you're not too afraid. You're out in the middle of nowhere panning for gold. You're finding 16-inch footprints, 4.5 foot gate, and you're following them and you're looking to where they go. Not a lot of people will do that. So again, I applaud you on that. You got that drive for discovery. What do you think, MK?
No doubt about that, but it should be tempered with caution. You can't emphasize caution, because looking at your video, you were standing pretty close.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything other than to say, I wasn't there, so I've done lots of things myself, impulsively, what gut instinct, but I know that they can be,
Aggressive. Yeah.
aggressive. It just depends.
Well, when I first filmed it or first put the camera on it, I didn't know it was going to be there, and I was only 20 feet from it. I was about 20 feet from it.
So
when
what?
Then I got closer.
What made you go out that night? What drove you to go film that night? What were you out there for?
Well, we were on vacation for Christmas, and I said, well, hey, I'm going to go try this camera. Maybe I can get it to work. And I just went out. It was like 3 days before Christmas. And my dogs went out with me. And one ran back, and the other one got between me and the figure we're talking about, the possible Bigfoot.
Yeah. Which dog ran? Did the pit bull run, or did he stay?
He stayed, and he actually faced me and sat between us. And I tried to get him to move, and he wouldn't leave.
How did you first realize that what you were possibly looking at? What made you? What was did it grunt at you? Did it make any noises? Did it throw something at you? What did it do to draw your attention?
Well, it did grunt at me once at the beginning and once in the middle of the video, and it sounded more like a pig, But when I saw it, I was thinking, is this a raccoon? Is this any animal that lives around here? There was no animal that lives around here. We have no bear, of course, and we do have coyote. There's deer, but I couldn't put it in a box. It was too big. and I used references of the post that was in front of me. It was way bigger than, it was taller than the post. Post was 5.5 feet, and it was back 2 feet from the post, 2 or 3 feet back. So it was pretty big. And there was a limb above his head. And I guess we can talk about it later, but I went in. I went the next day after I filmed this again, but this time I went with a gun and a flashlight, because I had gone in there just with my camera. No way of seeing anything, any light. It was dark without anything but that camera when I first went in there, and I first videoed it. But the second night, the next night, I just had to go back and see if it was still there. And it was, my dog's barking. Anyway, I went in and the second night, and I videoed the same place, and there was nothing there. And we'll talk more about that, I guess.
What happened? Yeah, strange things happened at the end, so for sure. All right, everybody. I'm going to share the whole clip. You know what? It's 9 minutes long. What do you think? Should I show the whole thing, you think, or should we just cut like to the middle? What do you guys think?
Well, if you know about where the highlights are, it would save some discussion time.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what I'm going to try and operate it from here with the media player from my desk. And I'm going to share the screen. So, all right, I haven't done this since Doug Hycheck was on the show a long time ago. I'm going to try and do it again here. So here we go. Share screen, select a window, media player, allow. All right, here we go. So now I can take this.
Move it to where you see the white dog. That's when it starts. Nope, you passed it.
Yeah, no, I'm coming back. I think right around here is a good spot we can start.
Yeah.
All right, now everybody, this is her second time with the camera. She has possible Sasquatch sitting in front of her. It's very shaky. That's why she sent it to us to stabilize. She's not a professional cinematographer. I'm just getting all the comments. People will say, well, you could have held the cameras. Well, if you had an 8-foot creature in front of you and you trying to film it in the nighttime, you'd be a little bit shaky too. I hope by the end of this clip and by the end of the show, everybody can tell that there is actually really something here, because I truly believe it. That there, in my opinion, there is something in the shrubbery here, and that looks to me like it's a Sasquatch. So I'm going to play it here, and then I will stop it. And if you guys, MK, if you see a spot where you want me to stop it and you want to comment on it, just let me know and I'll stop it.
Okay.
All right. So here we go, everybody.
Dog. Okay, entry.
There it is.
I don't know what that was.
All right, let's stop it there and let's discuss that. If you can find a good spot there where you can see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on. All right, that's
all right. Now that right there is what we think to be is the knuckles and fist. Is that not correct?
Yep. No, you're correct. Here, let me try to do this here. There we go. Yeah, it's holding on to that piece of twig right there. He's holding on. His face is right in here, everybody. He's holding here. He's scrunched down, and we'll show you something that I picked up later after we stabilize. It's gonna blow your minds when we show that later on. So this is his fist. You can see the fur. MK's got some really good footage of this that he can show after. So let's continue on here now.
Hear that grunt right there?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's go back here.
Let's listen to that again.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
Right there.
See, now he moved.
Yep. That would be a good time to exit stage left.
Now watch, everybody watch his hand. See where his hand is? Now watch. There he goes. He moves it forward. Up, 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 up. There it is.
Yeah.
Up, 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 up. There he goes. Now it was way back in the background, and now it's forward again. He's still watching her, and you'll see that there's his eye right here. If you guys can see that from there, that's his eye. We have it blinking, so we'll show it to you that later too. But he's watching her. Watch that eye right there. I wish I could get rid of that thing. It won't stay away though.
Try hitting escape. Escape sometimes will make that thing go away.
I got it now. I'm not touching it now.
Yeah, okay.
Now, in my opinion, he knows he's caught. He knows she sees him. He's not moving. There's the dog barking.
That was a neighbor dog across the street. But if you can see the hand, it's moving.
He's moving his head. I mean, we got to make a video about this after this is all said and done. Come on. Not even touching nothing. It comes back.
I'm sorry, y'all. I ain't getting no closer.
See, he moved his hand again. There it goes again. See, he's moving it up.
I saw the little limb shake too.
Yep.
Come on, Petey. Get out of there, dog.
So the dog wasn't in there. I was just trying to get the thing to react.
He's still in there.
Yes, David Leonard, he did blink. We got footage of him blinking. This is pretty extraordinary in my book. This is killing me if it's keeping tables to do this.
Come on, Petey. Go get it. It goes anywhere.
DeeDee, how
This
close?
is when I move up about 10 feet. I'm closer.
I'm not going any further. Where is it, Pete?
There's the knuckle right there. I'm going to stop it. Look at it. Look at that knuckle right there. I wish I got better live stuff here. Oh, I can't do it. We'll get MK's footage. You can see the knuckles really good.
Where is it, Pete?
Look at that. See the fingers. That's a big hand.
Oh, you got it then. You can
Look
see
at
that
that.
top finger. It was really clear.
His fingers.
Yeah.
Well, he's got like callus. If a guy lays floors for a living, I'm sure there's people out there. Look at his face right there in the background too. Look at that. Ugh. If you lay floors for a living, you get like a second knuckle on top of your knuckles. And I think if they're walking on their knuckles or down on all fours, you're going to get these calluses. But look at that thing. Again, this is just an IMO. We're not saying this is 100% definite, but to me,
Well, that's where he blinked.
All right. Time for us to get out of here. Come on, Kitty. Kitty, you're right next to it. Moving again.
I don't understand this. Curse this thing. You can see the reflection of his eye in the eye of the camera.
You in there. You are.
So here I'm going around the other side of the tree trying to get a different shot. And I get this Freddy Krueger looking face. But it didn't work.
You don't want to know what it was. Shoot me. What it is, it's right there. Stay over there. I can't. Go.
Okay, that's when I'm leaving. You can stop it.
All right, so let's see. How do I get this off of here? All right. Well, MK, what do you think?
Well, it'll make you dizzy. But I've seen a lot of film over the years, and I know how hard it is to get, and you combine that with the experience of the person who was there, and how they describe, because your eyes can see and your ears can hear and all your senses can sense way better than a camera. And there was something that told her to take the video, so she knew something was there. And so you scrutinize the video and you see that indeed it was. That's how much you get out of it. Maybe more or less how much you work on it, how much you put into it. There's always a lot of different processes to try. I didn't ever see the eye until you showed it to me, and then I realized, yeah, that's it. So I'm going to give some attention to the eye and try to stabilize it in a rock steady method and see if I can get it to like that without the jumping around. Your brain can't. Your brain and your eye work together, and they can't really absorb information from more than one plane of movement at a time. If you have 2 planes, 3 planes, then you get confusion. It becomes chaotic. When you reduce it back to just that one plane using stabilization, then your brain and your eye is much more better able to analyze.
I'm blown away by it. I don't know what I would have done. I mean, not a lot of people would have stood their ground 20 feet, 30 feet away from this. And I mean, film it. You're not sitting there filming a tree. Why would you sit there and film a tree? You know what I mean? It's just.
Trees don't grunt at you.
Yeah, trees don't grunt. They don't blink. They don't have knuckles. They don't have fingers. Again, it's to me, it looks like a Sasquatch. Is it? I don't know. But I agree. We got a good question here, and Miss Francesca asks it. Did you walk away with it at your back? Yeah.
No, I actually walked about 10 feet and turned around and started walking backwards, and then I went away from it. You could hear me say, stay over there. It's like, and I got away pretty fast. The dogs came to me, and we went in back to the house.
White Northern goes, DeeDee, you sure you're not a bull rider?
No, I'm not that crazy. I did ride a bull once. I got stepped on.
Yeah. So MK, you wanna pull up your footage now? MK did a really great job of stabilizing the arm and the hand, and we'll pull his footage up next so you guys can take a look at this.
Okay. All right. It says I'm sharing.
Yeah, here I added you to the stage. Now
Right now, I'm going to call it up here. Hands and knuckles. I can't see y'all right now because I got it full screen.
Yep. Here, let me.
Can you see them?
Yeah, we can see them. Yeah.
And you know, it's whenever you use, there's several different cameras. They call them cameras when you do image stabilization. And one of them is called Rock Steady. But the more that you stabilize it, the less field of view you have. Everything, it becomes like a cropped image. So you can overcome that a little bit by going with the lower percentage, like 20% stabilized, and do it 2 or 3 times, rather than doing it 60%, and then you end up with a cropped, very cropped video.
Right. Yep. But the one that we first showed, that whole video was stabilized. So it was pretty shaky before the stabilization. But
Yeah.
I would be shaky too trying to film that. Oh, did you see the eye right there at the end?
Uh-oh. You want me to go back? You saw it?
Yeah, it was right at the end of that clip.
Yeah, let me
Bring it all the way to the end, and then
I don't have
yeah, no, it's coming. I'm watching. You can't see it on your thing on your computer.
Hold on, look.
It's at the bottom there.
Yep, it'll come out right at the last moment. It'll poke out.
All right, I stopped it.
Oh, you gotta keep a little bit longer. It's like right at the very end. It starts pulling through. Yeah, right there. See it?
All right, you see it now?
I believe it's in the shadows now. Oh, we got the other footage. We can show you.
It jumped back to the first. I'll let it go too far. It's at the end.
Yep, you got to push play because it was like on the roll, MK. It wasn't like
it just did have it on there.
Yep. But he's watching.
Okay, let's go to another one.
Yep.
All right, here we go. I've got, let's see here, clip 2 forensic stabilization.
There's the hand. You can see the fingers. You can see the knuckles. And there's his eye right there. You see it right in between that. There's a little hole in the shrub right there. His eye is right there looking through.
A hole where?
Right at the bottom right. Right to your right now. Right there.
Okay.
That's where he's watching.
Okay. I'm gonna start it again. It's try to follow that. Whew. When you see the video roll, it's easier to see. Okay, let me move to another. Clip 2, forensic stabilization. Sharpened. I'm not sure how much sharpening helped. Right there, right?
Yep.
All right. Now, forensic camera.
See, now you can tell his hand is moved now because it's not the same position as it was in that last clip.
Right there.
Yep. There he goes. He moved again right there.
Yeah, because it was over this limb, wasn't it?
Yes, he moved again. Yeah, it's not even there now. He's not even holding anything. It's just...
Okay. Now let's try this one. Sharpened.
Yeah, that's just weird because it's a whole different scene.
it lost some of its field of view in the process of stabilization. So you're more zoomed in. My suggestion is to start with wide field and then work your way toward a zoom
Yeah.
to make sure that you are, you're on target.
All right. Well, let's play the one that I got.
Okay.
We'll take this down, and we'll play this one clip because then we'll take some questions for DeeDee too. Now here's the one with the you can see the eye glow and the blink. So here we go. Whoops, I hit the button again. So he's holding on to that limb up there. Now watch to the right where we were showing you where that eye was before when it comes back across. You'll see a reflection. It's just so tough to. There's the blink. Did you see the blink?
I did.
So right in that same spot, everybody, that we pointed out the eye before, watch for the blink. Right where that little hole is. So,
you can see that pretty clear.
Yep. So again, it's what we got. We waited a year to show what happened here? Whoa, that was weird. So we waited a year to show it. DeeDee was hesitant on showing people, and she waited. She took her time, and we reviewed it. We did the best that we could with it. We stabilized it. And we're here showing it to everybody. You guys can take it for what it is. You can make your own opinions of it. Again, we don't know exactly 100% what we're looking at. But I thank DeeDee for coming out and showing people that no, Joe, this can't be stabilized like Patty. This film is all over the place. You should have seen it before it was stabilized. Yeah, it can't be done like Patty.
I think that I can get that eye blink though.
All right. Yeah. Well, we can work on certain parts of it, but the whole video itself is so shaky it can't be stabilized like Patty. So if anybody's got any questions about DeeDee about what happened that night, or how she did it, or where she was, or her feelings, or all in cap letters, and we'll get her questions to her. Yep. So okay, Digger Dog asks, did your dog stay right alongside you once you found it?
Well, actually, the Australian Shepherd dog I have, she ran home as soon as I think I found it. I spotted it. She usually barks at stuff, and she didn't. She took off. But the pit bull, he sat between me and it, facing me. Eventually, he sat down and he didn't move. Even when I told him, let's go get it, he didn't move. It was like he was trying to protect me. I don't know, but he wouldn't. He didn't go in there. He didn't run around. He just stopped and sat down and looked at me.
Why don't you tell everybody what happened to the area after you filmed this?
So, I had called Debbie Jones about this after I had filmed it, And I asked her, I told her about it. I sent her some screenshots because I didn't even know how to put it on a clip to send it to anybody. And she said to get a hold of Chris or get a hold of Mark. And Chris was the first one I got a hold of and stuck with him. But anyway, about 3 days after I talked to Debbie, the woods got cleared out. They came out and cleared. It was 10 acres. There's 10 acres back here behind me. And they came in and cut all the big trees. Most of it just cleared it out, except for the tree that he's by and some brush that they didn't get in the corner. They had it wiped out, especially where he was standing. You couldn't see. It was cut down. But I had pictures afterwards during the day. How I went in there and the grass was up to my waist, and behind it, it was brush 10 feet tall. And they cut everything out. And it was just ironic because it was like 22 degrees, and then all of a sudden in the 2 years at that time that I had been here, that they hadn't messed with that property, and all of a sudden the woods are cleaned out, So I just thought it was strange.
Yeah. Why would they come and wipe it all out, clear cut it? It's
It did, and it's about grown back out again, especially closer to me. But they have to keep it mowed or it grows up pretty fast. But it's kind of like a pasture. Sometimes I see deer out there, and then to the right is trees. I have live oaks, big maple trees and stuff. But a lot of live oaks, the ones that bend over, and I have a few of those in my yard, and it goes straight out into the woods. And then there's briars where they don't tend to it, and vines like that creature was behind, and just thick. It was very thick, and there was a tunnel where things had been coming through.
Where do you think that the creature's home is?
I don't know. I don't know if it was using it as a den for a while because I hadn't noticed it. I hadn't bothered it. I would go out there and in that back part and almost every day and play with the dogs and never out there at night though, and then but it could have stayed there. There's like I said, there's a game preserve not far from me. It's like a block and a half. And it's pretty protected. It's probably about 50 acres, maybe. I don't know. But it's got a lot of those kind of shrubbery trees and places that it could hide. There's a lot of places around here. I'm surprised when I moved down here how many places on this side of the bay that's just with trees. I was.
Are you pretty close to Galveston?
No, I'm closer to Corpus Christi. I'm on Corpus Christi Bay. Yeah, I'm down south. Yeah, and there's some brooks and branches that branch off of some of the rivers in Texas that come through here, not far in my county. And I looked on a Google Maps just to see how it would get here. If it was a Squatch, what is it doing here? And there are some ways it could travel through here with the trees. Over by Rockport area, there's a lot of trees, a lot of deer out that way too. So it's kind of forested grasslands, stuff like that.
I'm gonna take like 3 more questions, and then we're gonna shut it down, and we're gonna work on this film because obviously there's a lot of interest in it now, and we can hopefully we can single up some stuff and stabilize some other stuff a little bit more than the others. Here Here's one of the questions. Boots on the ground with Barb asks, how do you feel when you were looking at it? Were you comfortable?
Well, at first, I was like, what is that? And then the longer I filmed it and noticed the height, the size of it compared to the fence and the things around it, I was thinking, could it be a squatch? If it's a squatch, then my mind started racing. Like there could be another one because there's always in pairs, you know. So I'm that's when I started moving the camera around pretty fast, and you know, so I was kind of, my mind was thinking of things like if I have an infrared camera, which my camera was, I thought squatch just couldn't stand those, you know. And I'm thinking, how am I filming this thing? And you know, there were so many questions that I had, and but it did not move. And I think MK made it clear to me the other night that, you know, once you get them in their view, they don't move.
Yep.
So
That's a big part of their process of avoiding confrontation. You know, they just freeze, and they just become a part of the background. I say that from experience because I filmed one in Bluff Creek. I didn't see it, but in my film you could see it, and I walked within 15 feet of it. Probably never knew it was there. You know, and it, you know, it clearly showed on my video. But you know, when you're looking through the little viewfinder, you know, it's a little harder because you don't have that exploded view. But I haven't experienced it. I have some understanding of you know, why it stood there. You know.
yeah.
I'll have to agree with you for sure. Okay, Mr. Flatrock asks, how close were you from that critter, D?
Well, at first I was about 20 feet from it, and then about halfway into the filming, I tried to charge it. I don't know where I was going. I was going to the fence line. I wasn't going to go any closer, but the dog was right there, and I don't know. I just thought I would see if it would run off or move. Said, let's get it. And I went up about 5 more feet, you know, so I was pretty close, 10, 15 feet away at one point.
Well, all right. And this is going to be the last question of the evening. I'm sorry if we didn't get to everybody's questions. We ran out of time quick. So here's the last question. Chino Productions asked, was there whistling, knocks? Did it follow you home?
No, there wasn't any whistling or knocks. It was a couple of grunts. That grunt you heard, if you heard the video, if you were there when we played it back, and it did that again in about the middle of the video. It was a little more subtle, but as far as following me home, it's only about 50 yards from my house.
Right. That's crazy. So this was in like a neighborhood. I mean, this was in like a field neighborhood, or
I'm really not in a neighborhood like a suburban neighborhood. It's pretty rural where I'm at. The houses are pretty far apart, spread out, I would say, in 5-acre plots or some 10 acres. My neighbor across the street has about 20 or 30 acres, you know, so it's cows. There's a lot of cattle in some of these places, horses.
so there's horses in the
Little
area.
farm areas.
Okay. That could be a possibility why it was there. The horses.
And there's deer. There's a lot of deer here.
All right. Well,
Do you think that it was attracted to there by the deer, or do you think they even eat deer?
I'm sure they do eat deer. They got to eat something that fills them up. I don't know what they were doing here. Really don't. I don't hope they were just passing through and they're gone. You know, but and after they cleared the woods out, I don't think they've been around, you know, and maybe once or twice my dog, my Australian Shepherd dog, she scents stuff, you know. She goes out and she smells the air. If it's not right, she runs back in the house. And I think she knows. I just have a feeling she knows, but I lost my pit bull in was it before summer was out? He passed away. So he's not here. It's just her, but she's spooky. She'll get spooked at stuff real easy.
Well,
But
sorry.
I pay attention to the dogs.
I'm sorry to hear that about your pup.
Same here.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for, for trusting MK and myself for, working on this and keeping it quiet and not telling people about it and working on it. And we'll continue to work on it and we'll see if we can get some more answers. And so I'll just say thank you. I mean, not a lot of people would come out with this. Again, we're not saying that it is 100% a Sasquatch. Everybody's seen the footage. They can make up their own mind. It's important because I don't want you getting hammered on and people trolling on you. And it just, you shared what you experienced. You weren't out there filming a tree. You were filming something that grunted at you in that intro. And it's important to get that stuff out. And it's all in IMO. And in your opinion, you were filming a Sasquatch. And what we seen and what we looked at, my opinion, it was a Sasquatch too. But again, I can't say 100%.
Thank you for pointing the camera.
Well, thank y'all for taking care of the video and fixing it where you could see better. I appreciate both of
Thanks
y'all.
for courage to do that.
Yeah. That's the main thing. You were out there getting the footage, and that the MK is 100% right on that. So, thank you again, and we'll work on it some more. And then if we get some more stuff, and we get some more, we'll do another show on it, and we'll continue to work on it and see what we can come up with. That's all we can do is just continue on. So
there's more that can be done. I feel like.
So we'll look at it. I'm sure there's going to be other people that are interested in looking at this too now, DeeDee. So you'll have to make that choice if it's okay for other people to look at it too. So you're going to have to think about that because I know there'll be people asking.
Right.
So you think about it and then you let us know what you want to do. And if you want others to look at it and try to, mess with it and stabilize it or do what they do,
Right.
We'll leave that up to you. So I can't.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So thank you so much. And we'll be talking soon. Ladies and gentlemen, it's DeeDee Harrison. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for taking time out and spending it with us again. And thank you for looking at the film and just being a true, kind gentleman and, and looking in and explaining. And that's all.
I've got a renewed interest in that eye. Having not actually picked it out myself, I hadn't seen it really. And when you showed it to me, that kind of goes all over me. That is meat and potatoes.
All right. So we'll continue. Like I said, we'll continue on looking at it, everybody. And when we get more, we'll bring DeeDee back and we'll show more. That's all we can do, right? We'll just keep on going. All right. So thank you so much. And it's always a pleasure, my friend. I'll see you backstage. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. M.K.Davis. All right. What a show. Now, again, I've said it 100 million times on this show. It's only an IMO. We don't know what it is. We don't know 100% what it is. We did our best to stabilize it. We did our best to show you all what we thought it was and what we found. And that's all we can do. We can just keep going and just keep moving along and showing what we can show and trying to figure it out. So I got one announcement, like I told you, that I had at the beginning of the show, and here it comes.
Hesitation coming around again. Termination, more than we might have been. In a world of unbelievers, there is no way of getting across to a crowd of true receivers. I think I'm lost. Hesitation coming around again. Termination of all that we could have
So there it is, everybody. I have signed on with Untold Radio Network. I have signed on with Lone Wolf Productions. We'll be moving the podcast over to Untold Radio on December 12th. I will still keep Discover Sasquatch alive. We'll be doing special shows here, back and forth. But for the majority of the shows, it's just a door that opened for me that I cannot go through. It just helps me out being a single person that does this by himself, to have people in your corner and setting things up. And Doug's a great guy. He's a great friend of mine now. And so I'm looking forward to that. So that's December 12th. And I'm looking forward to it. And so thank you all much. Like I said, Discover Sasquatch is not going to go away. We will be here still to do our thing. The field video is almost done, and I got another show that I want to put out on Discover Sasquatch. So we'll still keep rolling here, but December 12th Untold will be Tuesday nights, same time, 8:00. On Untold Radio. So I'm looking forward to being part of what they got going over there. They got some really cool stuff. They got a lot of great people over there, a lot of great shows. So please, if you're not a member or not a sub over there, go on over, substitute, tell them who sent you, Discover Sasquatch, and that's where we'll be on Tuesday nights. So thank you all for coming, and you know what's next. What our buddy Larry tells us all the time. Get in the woods, people.